Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
Everybody loves a deal. This is Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks, episode 441, Amazon Deals Fall Edition. And you know, Kelly, we love to do these about once a quarter because we have so much interest in what's a great deal on Amazon. So I love doing these.
Oh, they're so fun to do the research and prepare for it as the Amazon boxes are hitting my porch.
I actually I was set up to record, and then I got the notification on my phone that I had an Amazon box on my porch. I had to run downstairs and get it.
I'm really excited to do this. Amazon is very much a part of everyone's lives, especially right now. And it's a big universe, as you all know, with big companies, small companies, even they have some handmade makers on there now. So we try to go sort of deep into the little cracks and crevices of Amazon and find things that you might not come across, maybe some more of the unusual things. And particularly for this episode, some really good deals. It's the fall episode because we're doing it at this time of year, not necessarily because there are fall-related items, although I do have one very pretty fall thing that I'm going to be telling you all about. And I would like to remind you all, if you haven't listened already, to definitely tune in to episode 440. That's my interview with Julie Thomas from Little Farmstead. It is a delightful interview. Julie is so warm and engaging and gives great tips. And she's just a wonderful person to get to know. I think you'll like listening. I think you'll also really enjoy following her in Instagram and checking out her blog and her beautiful book. And we're doing a signed book giveaway. And it's not just going to be the book. Julie's putting a little extra treat on top of the book when she sends it out to the winner. So I'll also include the link to enter to win her book in the show notes here. And it's also in the show notes for episode 440.
Oh, Julie was just delightful. And we both want to go steal one of her sheep.
I know she can have one and we can each have one.
I think that works.
I think I'm going to take Winston because that smile on that sheep, the sheep actually smiles. It's so cute.
Stop it.
It's a very Instagrammable sheep. So you have to, if you haven't listened and you haven't looked, you must go do that. But listen in here first. So Anita, why don't you kick it off? See what you found.
Oh my goodness. There were so many good things. And where do you even start on Amazon? But one thing that I find very difficult to locate are beautiful quality lamps. So I was very excited to find a lamp that I really think is beautiful. And this one is called the Fergie Modern Lamp. It's in white, and it's one of those double gourd lamps. And I know you know what I'm talking about. It's in white, and it's got a white lamp shade. And it's so beautiful. And I didn't record the prices on my items, but I was very careful about I was very cost conscious, so I believe this one was less than $100. And for these types of lamps, I think that's a great buy. So this one was really beautiful, and of course we'll have all the links to all of these.
Okay, for anybody who didn't get the memo on the double gourd lamp, could you just describe it?
Well, the top part is kind of shaped like a gourd, and then it kind of curves down. It's almost like an hourglass shape, only I don't know how to explain it. It's cinched in like it has a wee little waist.
Yeah. And then it bloops out again like a gourd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Hence the double. Okay, beautiful. That's really nice. I have two sets of lamps that I found. So maybe I should just talk about those right now. And this will be like our lighting section.
Yes.
Okay, so I've been looking for nightstand lamps for Laura's room. One of her lamps just kind of fizzled out and it was not expensive. So, to take it and get it rewired just seemed silly. I was like, I'm sure I can find something. But I didn't think I could find a deal like this. It's a set of two lamps. It's called the NOLA Stacked Crystal Ball Lamp. It even comes with the bulbs, and it comes with the shades. You can get shades in white, gray, and I think this really bright persimmon color. So picture maybe 4 or 5 inch crystal, probably plastic at this price point. Crystal balls stacked on top of each other, a small silver base. They're 16.5 inches tall, and the duo, so the pair, $59.99.
That sounds beautiful. And I actually bought a lamp like that for my daughter Elise's room at her group home for her nightstand. And I think those are really pretty. I haven't seen the particular one that you're talking about, but I think that type of lamp is really pretty.
Yeah, Laura has a vintage crystal chandelier in her room, so I wanted to pick up the crystal, and what a great price. Another set of lamps that I found, these are for a client, and I love them. So I don't really have a use for them, but maybe somebody who's listening does, because you should really get these. They're beautiful. So I have actually seen these in person. They're brushed gold. So again, a set of 2 lamps, brushed gold open ring. So they're very sort of modern and organic looking. It's a circular ring. There's a square base, comes with a very cool rectangular shade. And again, the shade you can get, I think, in 2 colors, maybe more. The lamp is 28.5 tall. And for the 2 of them, $149.99. Very high-end looking lamp. And it's that brushed sort of warm gold. It's a really, almost looks like gold leaf. Really, really nice looking lamps.
Oh, nice. Oh, I love a good lamp. And I was thinking about how we talk about using antique and vintage bottles in your home.
Okay, I'm going to fall over if you found the same bottle that I found.
Okay, so this is a new bottle. Is it the Amador bubble glass bottle?
No.
Okay, all right.
Okay, good. Now we have 2 pretty bottles to look at.
But there's certain things I think that just work so well in just about any home, and one of them is a glass bottle with character. It goes with so many different styles. You just put it on a stack of books or on a table somewhere. It's great in vignettes on a tray, and this one is sized so that you could put it in a vignette. It's kind of tear-shaped, I guess I would say, and it's got that kind of green colored glass, and it's got the air bubbles in it. So it looks like
seeded glass?
Yes, so it looks vintage or antique-y. And so I think this would be a really nice addition to really any home, whether you're doing more country or more of a modern look. I think it would be very pretty.
Do you know how big it is?
This one's not that tall. It's probably only about 8 to 9 inches tall.
But that's a nice height for a vignette, for sure.
Right, so you could put that about anywhere, whereas some of the bigger bottles, you really need a large place to put them.
Okay, since we are sort of doing categories, I will do my glass bottle now. Okay, this was really something I didn't expect to find, and I think it was sort of on the, sometimes you get things suggested to you, and it was sort of on the bottom. I wasn't necessarily looking for this. So it's a Victorian-style glass bottle with stopper. It's 7 inches tall, and it has this Victorian type of label on it. Now, I think it says something in French and maybe the word lotion, something like that. The label is actually printed on the glass, so it's not paper. And I read a lot of the reviews about it too. It's just really pretty. And I recently got myself a vanity, which I have yet to put together for our master bathroom. I'm sort of changing things up in there a little bit rather than I have a chair in there now and a little table, and I think I'm going to take that out and see how this vanity works. So I was thinking about things to put on that. I thought this would be so pretty. So it comes in the neutrals for the label, and the glass is clear, but it also comes in this lovely robin's egg blue. So it's kind of one of those things you have to look at. Like if I saw this at the Rose Bowl or at an estate sale, I immediately grab it. So pretty. The fact that it's new, sometimes those are not so great. They look too new, but the reviews on this one are very good. They say that The label does look a little shiny because it's not paper, it's coated, but they did that in case you really wanted to use it for something. So the reviews are really great. It's $20.40, which is kind of a weird price, but really pretty.
This is a classic item. Honestly, I think these are so gorgeous. I think anybody would love these no matter what your style is. And that is the rattan outdoor French bistro woven seats. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Is it the table or the chair?
It's the chairs.
Oh,
so these are,
yes. I love those.
I do too. And this is blue and white. They're so beautiful. We have some. I have them in a couple different colors. My favorite is the blue and white. It's just so crisp and pretty. This one is from Christopher Knight. We featured a lot of his items before.
Well, if anybody is really, this is good DTT trivia. Okay?
Yes, I do remember.
Email me and let me know who Christopher Knight really is, or who is really Christopher Knight. And we'll just leave it at that.
Right. Yes, and yes. So these are called the Gwendolyn Outdoor French Bistro chairs, and it's a set of 2, and they do have different colors. Now it's making me click on the buying options. So right now it looks like a set of 2 for $355. I guess that depends on who you're buying them from, but that's not a bad price for 2. And they're just a beautiful classic design. And here's the thing: they're the type of chairs that you can put on your porch, but they're so beautiful you really can use these indoors. And I think it'd be a great look to have in a breakfast room. And I love the idea of using these, even not these, but they make this style in a counter stool or a stool for a bar height. So I think these would just be beautiful. I just love this style. It's so pretty.
Oh, I do too. Yeah, really pretty. Class, and you can't go wrong with that. If it works in your home, it's a classic. You can't go wrong. And you could use them outside. I probably wouldn't leave them in the burning Southern California sun because they're sort of that all-weather wicker, right? But maybe under a covered porch or something like that.
Right.
Really good. Really good choice. Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm going to round up my lighting with a set of 2 crystal finials. They actually come with an extra set of threads as well. So sometimes you would note that the screw top of your lamp might be a different size, particularly if it's a vintage lamp. So your finial sometimes doesn't fit. The threads on that are too wide or too thin. So you have a little flexibility with these. And again, I'm sure they're not real crystal. I'm sure there's some sort of either just glass or maybe even a high density plastic, but they look really great. The reviews are terrific. So it's a set of 2 crystal finials with an extra set of threads for $13.99. And like we talk about updating your lampshade, the small details sometimes make such a big impact. Changing a finial from maybe just a plain little brass or oil rod bronze one that might just come with a lamp, and changing it to something that's pretty and pretty spectacular, like crystal. It might bounce the light around. You might get little rainbows in your room. Who knows? I think it could be really pretty, and particularly maybe in a bedroom, this would be really lovely.
Well, you're so right, Kelly, and we've talked about this before, the importance of these little details. And these are the little things that when someone comes in your house, they are going to notice. And these details are what really elevate a design up to the next level. So that's a fabulous idea, to add something like a beautiful finial to your lamps. My next item is an 18-inch rustic wooden candle. They're calling it the Stone Briar. So it's 18 inches tall, which is great. And you know how we were talking about buy some base pieces that it's going to take you year round. This lantern is to put a candle in, but you could also use it to put pumpkins in for the fall, pine cones. As we move closer to Christmas, you could put Christmas ornaments in. And then in the spring, moss, you could put fairy lights. These lanterns are so perfect to put anything in, and I still keep meaning I want to buy about 3 or 4 of these to put on my front porch, to put some of those fairy lights in as we're going into the fall and Christmas season. I just think that was going to be so pretty.
I just pulled out my fairy lights because Laura carved a pumpkin and she wanted to light it up with a real candle. And I was like, oh, no, we're not putting a real candle in your room. So I got out a little set of fairy lights. And so we put the fairy lights, the little battery box and the lights in a little Ziploc. And then we put that inside her pumpkin. And she was absolutely delighted. But the pumpkin really pooped out pretty quickly, which is what happens sometimes with a carved pumpkin. So then I had the fairy lights and it was like, I was apparently running around the house like thinking, where could I stick them? So I just sort of draped them over a white marble like cutting board that I just really use for decor, and 3 little pumpkins, and I had a little cuttings from the garden, and I just draped the fairy lights all around the pumpkins and sort of wound them around the little vase. It makes me so happy every morning. I come down and I put the fairy lights on. I mean, it's so simple. So if fairy lights are not on your list, get some, because I'm sure you could get the money in one too, because they really do make this, it just makes it so cozy. Mm-hmm. And today was really gloomy and it was just so nice to have those on.
Yeah. Now this one was $40, but again, it's big. So, but I think
nice. That's a great price for a lantern.
For 18-inch one, I really think it is.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of cozy, I found a faux herringbone cashmere throw.
Oh, there you go.
What would we call that? Cashmere. It's a faux. It's got fringe. It's 50 inches by 60 inches. And the price is ridiculously good. $23.99. It looks very high end. Again, kind of like those brushed gold lamps I was telling you about. It's just the way they did it. It's not overdone. The colors are muted. There are several different colors you can choose from. I picked the yellow one, which kind of looks like a weedy yellow. Really pretty. And it would be a lovely gift too. I mean, it's not like you're trying to, pass it off as cashmere, even if it's faux. It's lovely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and it's nice to have some that aren't cashmere. Cashmere is so expensive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that's a nice option. And my next item is from the Kate and Laurel store. Didn't we feature them before?
Yes, those sconces that I have up in my living room. And a few people have purchased those sconces and let me know about it. And I've actually seen pictures of them in people's houses. And I should tell you guys, and I meant to write this down. I'm so glad you mentioned that shop. I found those sconces, which I think were $39.99 each. Now, again, sometimes Amazon prices change. We've mentioned that to you before. So, don't quote us exactly if you go to the link. But those sconces that I got, I think were $39.99. I just saw them in the Ballard catalog for $69.99 each.
Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com. So I do like Kate and Laurel, and I think we featured a few of their items. One of the other times in either Amazon Finds Part 1 or Part 2, which we should link here as well, Anita, so everybody could see those.
Oh, absolutely. So anyway, getting to the actual item, it's a round accent table, gold with it's a tray on a stand, and it's gold, and the inside of the tray, or the top part of the tray, is white. So nicely priced, less than $100.
Yeah, I think it's a great little accent table. I've seen that one before. I like that. Kate and Laurel also has this lacquered tray, which I love. It's very Serena and Lily, if everybody knows that brand and the catalog that comes a lot. But the one I would choose is the white with the shiny brass handles. They also have other colors like the navy, which is so sharp looking. They also have blush, and they have some wood tones. But I really love the ones that come with the shiny brass handles. And I think that's the white, the navy, or the blush. $44.99.
Okay, so interesting. There were several trays similar to what you were talking about. So I don't know if this is the exact one. This one's the Lipton tray. So I'm just going to mention it since while you're talking about the trays, because I do love this tray. And it's the high gloss navy, which I just think is beautiful. And it's got the handles up on the top.
It's got to be the same one. I didn't write down the name of it.
Well, some of them have an inset handle, and this one's kind of on top. It's almost like a pull from a cabinet that you screwed in the top.
Yes, that's it.
Really beautiful, shiny brass handles, glossy navy, gorgeous, so beautiful. So I think these are, I don't know. I may have to go get that one. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, so we double down on that one, everyone. So obviously we really like it.
It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, very pretty. Tables. So I found a glass and gold coffee table. And again, this is one that I have recommended to a client. So I've seen this in person. It is 32 by 32. So it's square. It's $196.63. Again, kind of odd price. It is very simple. It's a square with some gold trim, and it has sort of 2 layers. I don't love the 2 layers necessarily, only because then you have to dust the bottom layer, but it's a beautiful table. I think when you're going for a less expensive item, the simpler, the better. And this one is really done well. I mean, it's just very classic. It would go with any decor. It's a great size. And to get a coffee table for under $200 is pretty terrific.
Yeah, that is great. Well, the next thing I found is a botanical print, and it's printed on, it actually has a navy background with the botanical print. So that's a little different, kind of a modern take on a botanical print, and it's a dandelion. So it's not a precious flower. It's a very common everyday flower. So it's kind of got a modern twist to it, and it hangs by it's got a bar on the top and the bottom. You've seen those almost like for a classroom, because it would roll up.
Oh sure, yeah, I love that.
It's got the string on the top. So it's called the Cavallini Papers and Company, and this is Cavallini Vintage. So it's the dandelion hanging poster kit. So this is really pretty, and let me look at this price for you. But it's 29 by 21. Which I found some of these things are just too small. So this is a really nice size, and it's $24. So think about that, $24. It's a nice size, and it's not going to require a frame because it's got its own hanging apparatus. So it's really beautiful and very striking. So I think this would go so well with that navy tray.
I'm pretty certain that's the dandelion print I have in my laundry room.
Oh my goodness. We're gonna have to...
I didn't buy it on Amazon, though. I bought
Really?
that at the Rose Bowl. There was a guy who I had never seen before. I had never seen him again. And he came and he had all of these prints, and some were vintage, but most were not. And I bought those. And I get so many questions about that because it's on my blog and it's also on one of my YouTube videos because I did my laundry room.
Well,
so yeah, and mine is a black background, but it's the dandelion, and it looks like one of those kind of German classroom botanicals.
Right. And it's got all the little parts. Well, I'm going to look at yours and see if it's the same one because this just looks so stunning.
Mine didn't come with the boards on the top and the bottom, which I think is such a great way to buy a print because it does save a ton of money. Framing is expensive, and especially when it's that size, sometimes you just can't buy that off the shelf, and you have to get something that's sort of custom made for it, and that can run into, especially if your print is like, oh, my print was $19, but my frame would cost me, $200. You're like, oh,
exactly.
That's not so great. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so here's my fall item.
Oh, yes.
Again with the wreaths. Obviously, ever since I said I was on the fence about wreaths, my head is spinning. I'm seeing all these beautiful wreaths. I used one for a crush last time we talked.
Now you're pro wreath. You're not on the fence anymore. I'm going to have to say you've jumped off.
Well, can you be pro without actually having one? I think that's what my stance is going to be.
Yeah, it's
kind of like liking cats without having one, or liking baby doll sheep without having one. So I think I like wreaths, but I'm not going to have one. This one is very natural looking. It's 22 inches, which is kind of on the mid-size, I think, for a wreath. So all dried flowers, and even has those little, I don't know what they call them. I think like little lanterns, like they're pumpkin colored little dried lanterns, and wheat is predominantly.
What do you mean a dried lantern? What does that mean?
There's a type of plant that dries like that, and it's kind of open.
Really?
So it's a 3-dimensional dried flower, if you will. And they're on there, and I think there's some berries and things like that, but it all looks dried. You may delve deeper, but I did the zooming and I read the reviews, but it all looks like it's dried, no plastic involved.
Nice.
And it's $55.98, which is a pretty good price for a wreath like that.
Yeah, right. Exactly. If you've got natural elements in it, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah, and even if you go to buy make a wreath, and by the time you buy all the bits and bobs, you're going to be over $55.
Absolutely. Now, we tend to not want to add all that stuff up, but you're very, very correct.
Yeah, exactly. You don't add it all up, right?
You go, no, because I have some left over, so I can't count all that cost.
Exactly.
For this other wreath that I'm never really going to make.
Exactly. Or, I'll just take all that stuff off of the grapevine wreath, and I'll make a different wreath next year. No, you won't.
No, you won't. No, you're going to throw it away. Exactly. Well,
or it'll be so beautiful you just couldn't bear to pull it apart.
Yes. Okay. So my next find is bird wall prints. So it's a set of they're James Audubon large white ibis blue, white purple heron prints. So there's a set of 4 prints of herons. They're these beautiful birds. And they're Audubon prints, so they're beautiful. And there's 4 of them. I just thought that would be so beautiful on a wall. And the thing I like about these prints is they're not something you see every day. To me, part of the thing with the wall decor is you don't want something you've seen in everybody's house. Now, it's okay if you get the dandelion print that Kelly has it. That's okay, because she's cool, and that means it's cool. But,
I've never seen anyone else with my dandelion print.
Well, you're going to see it now, I think.
I'm going to see it now. It's on Amazon. That's okay.
But the herons...
I'll share it with everybody that listens to the podcast.
Right,
Nobody
but
else,
there's certain prints, when you see it in somebody's house, you're thinking, I've seen that in every store I've been in. I've seen it in this person's house, this person. I think with the herons, I really don't see them anywhere. So I think this would just be very unique and beautiful.
And they're classics too. They're right
Yes.
in the line with botanical. So if it's an Audubon, it's a classic.
Of course,
it's fine.
it is.
Yeah,
course.
that would be lovely. So do they come framed, or they're just the
These
prints?
are not framed.
Mhm.
But, you know,
that's lovely.
you can go with a simple frame for those, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you could probably just buy one off the shelf. Do you have anything else?
I do have a couple more things.
Bring them. Yeah.
Well, I wanted some blue and white, so I found one thing was a Moroccan pitcher. It's called, it says Sangria handmade ceramic beverage dispenser jar. But anyway, it's a 58 inch, so it's a nice size, blue and white. It looks hand painted, really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And then let me just scroll down and show one other thing with my blue and white mood. There's a blue and white chinoiserie pillow cover. Really pretty, a very soft blue with some navy in there. And I think that would be beautiful.
Yes. Oh, I do have something else. I have, again, a set. So it's a set of 2 velvet pillows with a whip stitch. And I think I'm saying that correctly from what I'm seeing. That goes all around the outside. So am I correct,
I know what you're talking
Anita?
I know, yes, yes. That
so
is
if the whip stitch would go around the outside of the edge,
right?
instead of horizontal to the edge, right?
Well,
So
it's yeah. I mean, it's kind of angled around.
Okay,
It goes
so
all the
that's
way
what
around.
I would call it. I might be calling it the wrong stitch, but it's fairly prevalent, and it looks like it's almost in like it's a thicker type of thread, almost bordering on sort of a twine, so it kind of gives it more of a country look. Comes in a bunch of colors. Of course, I love it in the black. Different sizes, 12 by 20, 20 by 20, 22 by 22, I think 16 by 16, and 18 by 18. Again, I'm sure it's not a real velvet. It's probably some sort of poly blend. It was, but everybody that was reviewing it said how soft and lovely the material was. So it does not come with the insert, just the pillow cover, but what a deal, $13.99 for 2.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
Anita, what's our hot topic today?
Oh, this one's a fun one. It is Paper City Bets Big on Round Top. And this is an article about the Round Top Register. And, you know, I've got a column in the Round Top Register and the Round Top Texas Life and Style magazine. And you remember these magazines because you met Katie when you were at Round Top with me, didn't you?
I did. And now I knew you had a column in the Round Top Register. I didn't know you also had a column in the Round Top Lifestyle.
Texas Life and Style. Right,
Whoa.
right. Well, it's the same thing. It's just kind of it's interior design on both of them. Paper City is really well known here in Houston and Texas. It's one of the best known luxury and design publications, and they just purchased the Round Top Antique Show Guide, which is a guide that is printed every year, the Round Top Texas Life and Style magazine, the Round Top Register, and the roundtop.com website. So my friend Katie is still working with them, but they've purchased all that, and I'm very excited for them. I think they're going to do something big with them. Paper City does such a fabulous job, and the president, Jim Castleman, says he's planning on buying a place out there, so maybe he'll be my neighbor.
It's a fantastic community out there. And, you know, other than being so overwhelmed in a good way with everything that was going on at Round Top, because you're such a Round Top insider, I got to meet all these people and sort of see it from a little bit more from the inside out. I loved how they explained in the article that everybody just sort of shows up at the appointed time.
Well, that's
it
interesting.
just
Right.
sort of happens.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. Yeah, it's hard to explain this to people because it's not like some other events that are highly organized. It's like herding cats pretty much because, you know, each venue is its own thing, and it's Texas. You know, everybody likes to be independent, but really there's really been no reason for everyone to band together. Every venue does their own thing. They can start, and there's nobody that's in charge that can tell you when you can open and close your venue. Now, if there's a particular venue, they can tell the vendors that come in, you know, here's our hours and, you know, here's the way we're going to do things. But as far as the venue goes, you know, there's so many. There's Marburger Farm, there's a compound, and Blue Hills. There's so many different ones. And each venue can start and stop when it wants. They can have the hours that they want. And it's very loosely organized. They try to, there's some overlap, but each venue seems to start a different day and end a different day. Mm-hmm. So they are, I think they may be trying to work together to be a little more organized, maybe to have a little more consistency on who's open when. But yeah, they're not going to be, they're just going to be working with everyone. But the one thing that I do like is they have delayed it permanently. You know, this year they delayed it a little bit, they said, because of COVID, but it's always so hot in the fall. So I'm thrilled that they've delayed it so it's going on right now as we're recording. And it's just so much cooler weather than it was really a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, it was hot when we were there.
Well, and that's not unusual. So I thought, you know, we've been complaining for a long time. When are you guys going to move it a little bit later? So it's wonderful that they have. So I think they've got a lot of exciting plans, and I can't wait to see what they do.
Well, I bet they're going to ask us to talk and maybe do a live show, Anita.
Well, I have a venue for us to do that, and you just need to show up.
Okay, well, you know me. Yes, girl, I'll show up. I loved how they likened Round Top to the Coachella of antique fairs, because that cracked me up. So yeah, very exciting. So I know I'll get there again, Anita. And
I hope you do.
We'll do.
We had so much fun.
We did have so much fun, and
pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
we have our crushes now. What's left? We talked about so many great items today. Do we have a crush?
Oh my goodness. Okay. You sent me a text message a couple of days ago.
Uh-oh. What did I say?
She's like, nothing personal, I hope.
I don't know.
You said 3 days ago.
Oh my goodness.
No, you sent me the picture of my house in a magazine.
Okay, I was going to talk about that, so I'm glad you're talking about it.
So, I had no idea it was going to be in this magazine, and which I know sounds weird. You're thinking, how can someone come and style your house and photograph it for a magazine, and you don't know that you're going to be in the magazine? Well, Fifi came and styled my house, and it actually was for the magazine she had, which was French Country Style. That magazine actually went out of business. And so she actually sold some photos of when she came to do my house for French Country Magazine, or French Country Style. They all kind of run together. I kind of forget the name sometimes.
Because she's been in so many magazines.
Well, I mean, they sound some are French country.
I clearly know the names of the magazines I've been in.
Well, okay. All right. So this one is called, this is a new one for me. I'd never heard of this one. French Country Home and Living Magazine. They just make it long on purpose, so we'll say it wrong.
Okay, is that what it is?
That's what it is.
That's the name of it?
And I've never heard of it before. I think it's brand new.
Okay, well, I'll tell everyone what happened. I'm helping my friend work on her house, and I sent her off to get some things at Home Depot, and she wasn't getting the practical thing she was supposed to be getting. She's in the magazine aisle, which I didn't even know they had at Home Depot.
They do.
I'm kind of focused when I got to Home Depot, and she's like, she's an avid listener and loves everything that Anita does. I think she actually likes you better than me. Oh. And it's just, since we picture Anita's house is in this magazine, so oh my goodness. And I knew you didn't know because you would have maybe said something to me.
Yes.
So I texted you. And that was so funny because, not to make it about me again, but, I was in Cottage's Bungalow and our friend Edie told me. It's just been a weird time. Right.
And I thought that was odd that you didn't tell me about that. And I thought, well, she's
because I didn't know. At least.
Well, it's the same sort of thing because when, even if you're agreeing to do it, I mean, when they come, you sign a release and they can use the pictures however they want. So they can sell it as many times as they want to as many magazines.
Right.
And, which is fine. I mean, I was thrilled to see it in the magazine, but I had no idea but a lot of times the editors will let you know, hey, your house is here.
You
in
would
this magazine.
think.
Because then the bloggers or the influencers tend to promote the magazine.
Of course. But it's in their own self-interest to tell you.
Right. So...
Well, if this is a new magazine, you'll have to educate them on that and let them know.
But it was I got it at Barnes & Noble, but thanks for letting me know it's at Home Depot as well. So, and yes. I think there's quite a few pictures of my house in it, and I think it starts on like page 84 or something like that. So, yeah. So that's my crush.
Page 84 yours? Or something like that. Very good. Well, congratulations on that. That's very exciting. And that's an excellent crush. I'm going to go get myself a copy too. Okay, my crush is not as exciting. Definitely, I'm sure, not as tasty as Anita's homemade bread, but I did find a brand for anybody who's trying to go gluten-free and is missing bread.
Yes.
It's called Be Free, just the letter B, free, gluten-free breads. They have maybe 3 or 4 different breads at my local store. Just a white, which is fine. It's kind of like a sourdough. And then they use different flours. And then they also have these everything bagels. Now, I'm from New York. I know what a real bagel is supposed to taste like.
Mm-hmm.
I will not lead you down the bagel primrose path. These do not taste like New York bagels, but they're very nice. It gives you some bread that maybe you were trying not to have any bread that had gluten. And so it gives you an option. I think they're very good for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really love bagels and you want to have a bagel once in a while, I think that's okay too, because that's what I'm going to do. But in the meantime, and for the everyday,
are you still gluten-free? Are you still gluten-free?
Gluten-free and paleo, my friend.
How long have you been doing this now?
Well, let's see. I think we started in May, the paleo thing. So May was the paleo thing. And then, see, when you start something new, you're like, oh, gosh, I'm sure I made some mistakes and I went non-paleo accidentally a few times, but I've kind of gotten my groove on. We had tried gluten-free many years ago, and it was really hard then because there was nothing and everything tasted like cardboard. I thought. But now I don't think it's so hard anymore. So, and my kids are older. So, there was just pasta when they were little. And so I don't cook like that anymore because they don't ask for that so much. So it's a little bit easier for me to do this now, but I definitely feel good.
Right. Yeah. I think there's a lot of health benefits to it, but you're right. It just, not everything is going to be the same as the gluten-full version, but they've really improved a lot of these breads. So there's a lot of pretty good breads, but it doesn't surprise me that the bagel is not going to be just right. Once you start getting into something like a bagel or something with yeast in it, it's harder, to make that really good. But if you're looking at like a brownie mix that's gluten-free, you're not even going to know the difference.
That's true. I agree. And Simple Mills is a company that has good mixes.
So where did you find your bee-free bread?
Just at my normal Ralph's, which is also Kroger's, so people might have those in whatever part of the country in.
Oh, good tip. Well, I'll look for it.
So we have I think a really good question today from our listener, Cheryl L. Cheryl and I have been emailing back and forth. And I think her question is, obviously we did some specifics in the emails, but the general gist of it is she went from a rectangle size shaped table to a round table and a smaller round table. And so she was, I think, initially struggling with just like the change and the different size and just had some questions about, what size is a good size round table and what about a light fixture over it? And, how do you maybe change up your room that once had a rectangular table in it and now you have a smaller round table?
This is interesting. I've got a round table at our farm. And so I think it does change things. For one thing, if you have a rectangular shaped rug and then you go with a round table, it might work or it might not, just depending on your room. Our rug is so big, it basically covers the entire kitchen. So I think it's fine. But in general, you might need to switch to a square shaped rug. You don't have to go round, but, something that kind of has the same, where you can sit it symmetrically on it. And, I was thinking, too, the question was kind of how many people would fit around a certain size table. Was that one of the questions?
Yes.
Because, ours is a 60-inch table, and that will fit 6 people comfortably around it. But it is harder to find tablecloths, round tablecloths that size. They're harder to come by. And if you do go with a larger round table like ours, I highly recommend that you do a Lazy Susan in the center because you cannot reach across that size table to the person across to serve something. So if you're using it that way. But the other thing I was thinking about, too, with the chairs around the table is to be careful about the legs because I know at our table, although it comfortably sits six chairs, 2 of them on where the stationary legs are, because we have a gate leg table. It's not, you can't really push your chair up very close because of the legs. So just kind of be mindful of that. But I don't know that you're going to need to make a lot of changes to the room. I would think whatever light fixture worked on your rectangular table probably will work on your round table unless it was a long
yeah, I was going to speak to that. If you had a light fixture that was more linear over a rectangular table, particularly if it was a bigger table, it just might not work with a 54 or 60-inch round. So it may be better to go with a more circular chandelier over it. I think that it might suit it a little bit better. And if you can find one with a leaf in it, that might be a good way to go. Cheryl was saying lots of times it's her and her husband, but then sometimes they have people over or family comes. But for the day-to-day, they really only need the 2 or /4 chairs. So that's perfect for a 54. But if you are going to consistently have 5 to 6 people, you're going to want a 60-inch round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a better size for 6 for sure.
Yeah. So, and I like the idea of doing a pedestal if possible on a round table. I like the look of it. I also like the idea that there's just sort of some, visually there's some sort of space and air underneath it, particularly if you're going to be putting maybe upholstered chairs around it. That was just a lot. So Anita makes an excellent point with the legs. And, you should definitely think about that when you're purchasing as to how many people you're going to have and, where their legs are going to go with respect to the table legs.
Well, that is an issue because a rectangular table, the only time you're going to have somebody straddling a leg is if you put someone on a corner, which just probably isn't going to happen. But when you have a round table and it's not a pedestal, somebody at some point is going to have a leg in their way. So the pedestal table really is a great design for a round table. And then you really can put quite a few people around it. I think it's amazing. You could get it pretty full, I think, with a round table and not have an issue.
Yeah. And the Lazy Susan, that's a good point. I had one of those, or my mom and dad had one of those growing up. And I remember I always wanted to spin it really fast, and I always got in trouble because my dad always had A1 sauce. I don't know, I think put it on everything, and my mother was just picturing the cap not being on and the A1 sauce spitting off and splattering all over the place. Stop spinning the Lazy Susan, Kelly. I can still hear it. So it might be fun to get one of those now, but I'd probably be the one saying don't spin it. Do they make those separate from tables? Can you just go get a Lazy Susan?
Yes, I got one that's got a French design on it.
Of course you did.
Well, but they were really beautiful, and they had cutting boards and then the Lazy Susans, and I bought it several years ago, but they had several different designs, and they're not hand-painted, but they look like they are.
Oh.
So it was really pretty. Yeah, so I don't know if they still make them, but yeah, apparently we're not the only ones with a round table.
Wow. And who was that Susan who was such a lazy bum and they named it after her?
I don't know, but I do appreciate that she invented this. So thank you for that, Susan. Thank you for being so lazy.
On that note, remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. I want to remind you that we are available for design consults. We take on your design dilemmas, questions, renovations, any project you want to talk about, any room, any space. We are here for you. And we really do enjoy doing these. And I think we've helped people a lot. So if you want to sign up for a consult, head to the link in the show notes. It's decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. We hope to talk to you soon.